A new No Man's Sky game on the way from Ubisoft? Boy, I can't wait to talk about this here in the LZ. My fellow travelers, you have climbed the tallest tower in the neighborhood and located the LZ. So glad to have you here, and you really didn't find much else while you were up there, by the way, unfortunately. Way to go filling out the map, though. And before we really cover the content today, I want to give you a tad bit of a history lesson that you might have forgotten about. Now, spoiler alert, obviously, this video was about Ubisoft and their new contract license agreement with Star Wars. Fresh out of the frying pan of Electronic Arts and into another frying pan with Ubisoft. So that's the content of the video today, but again, a history lesson if some of you did not remember. As a matter of fact, Ubisoft had already been working on a sort of No Man's Sky-like video game already. And last we heard, at least whatever form that it was previously in, that game had been canceled. At the time, it had been codenamed as, Project Pioneer or something like that. That was being ran by Alex Hutchinson and a couple of other industry whomevers. And they didn't cancel it so much as they sort of reappropriated the project. And if some of you remember, it was a video that was sort of virally, I don't want to say if it was viral because I don't think it went that big, at least not the way that Ubisoft had kind of hoped that it did, but it was sort of a viral video that you could only find, at least at first, within Watch Dogs 2, where they were sort of poking fun at journalists and leaking things, which is super tongue-in-cheek and very meta for back in the day. But I've had the trailer playing for that. It was kind of intriguing, actually, back in the day where I sort of had kind of a favorable opinion of Ubisoft, and that has, of course, circled into the septic tank as of recent with all of the allegations that Ubisoft as a toxic work environment rife with sexual harassment and things like that. They really hit the ground hard, and I haven't played a good Ubisoft game since Far Cry 5. So it's interesting now that I don't know how in the world, knowing that with, in conjunction with Disney and with LucasArts, how they ended up with working agreements for Star Wars. But Game Rant is reporting, and several other sites are reporting, that it's a rumor Ubisoft's Star Wars game will feature a full universe like No Man's Sky. A new rumor hints that mysterious Star Wars game in development at Ubisoft features a fully open and explorable universe similar to No Man's Sky. Let's read the article from here. New rumors suggest that the Star Wars game currently being developed by Ubisoft Massive will feature a vast open universe for players to explore as they take part in missions, although details about the mysterious title are still being kept tightly under wraps. A Twitter post from the December announced that Ubisoft Massive was recruiting playtesters from the Star Wars game. Despite providing the inspiration for beloved titles like BioWare, Star Wars, Knights of the Old Republic, etc., while EA managed to find crucial and critical commercial success with 2019's Souls-like Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order, years of largely lackluster EA Star Wars games led many franchise fans to rejoice when it was announced in 2021 that Ubisoft would be working with Lucasfilm's games. Jesus, who is rejoicing this? What franchise fan is rejoicing this? Please, if you're rejoicing Star Wars moving from EA to Ubisoft, put it in the comments. Tell me why. I need to understand this. But the new rumors suggest that the secretive open world game could have an even larger scope than players had anticipated. A new tweet from Star Wars gaming account Battlefront Updates includes a quote from Insider Gaming claiming that the new Ubisoft Star Wars game features a fully open, seamless universe akin to that found in No Man's Sky. The quote goes on to state that players will be able to travel between different star systems while taking part in a multitude of different activities. Although gamers knew that Ubisoft's Star Wars title would be open world in nature, The massive scale of the game, as suggested in the quote, indicates that Ubisoft could be trying to compete with upcoming releases like Bethesda's Starfield when it comes to the amount of content on offer. Many Star Wars fans were notably skeptical about the news of seemingly massive universe exploration in the upcoming game, with some commenters pointing out Ubisoft's tendency to release open-world games with very little for players to actually do. We've reached full circle, No Man's Sky fans, but Ubisoft beat us to the punch with the whole there's nothing to do in this game. If you've ever been a fan or been following No Man's Sky as long as I have, you know the whole what do you do in No Man's Sky. I just thought that was funny. Anyway, this poking fun at an old trope in many of Ubisoft's open-world titles. One gamer joked the players will be able to unlock areas in their map by scaling the Empire's galactic electrical towers. Other comments worried about the comparison of No Man's Sky, given that game's troubled launch. Putting skepticism aside, some diehard fans simply expressed excitement at the idea of being able to play a truly open-world Star Wars game. Pause this for a second. Don't make me tap the sign, people. Don't make me tap the sign. A small, tiny studio like No Man's Sky and Hello Games having a terrible launch is different than a giant, multi-billion-dollar corporation studio / publisher having a terrible launch. I'll put that video in the cards for you so I can remind you there's a big difference here. However, I can guarantee you that No Man's Sky has had a better long-term success than most Ubisoft games to date. I mean, what games do they have running going on their 7th year right now? Maybe Rainbow Six Siege. They might have one or two that are slipping my mind right now. But let's just talk track record here. There's a big difference, right? There's a reason why No Man's Sky launched at a terrible thing like it did. Ubisoft just has several lemons that they've thrown out. And really just, I feel like they sort of quietly hate their fans. If you're a Far Cry fan like me or a Splinter Cell fan like me, you know the pain that I feel. And so not only did they already have a No Man's Sky-like in development, but they shelved the project or gutted it to turn it into something else, which was reported online, I think, in 2019, that the Ubisoft's Pioneer wasn't canceled necessarily, as it was just sort of reappropriated to become something else. But also, if you are here watching this video and you have any kind of faith in Ubisoft to sort of produce a large-scale, open-world, ambitious project, I'm going to remind you that Beyond Good and Evil 2 is still in development. And we found out about this game, 8 years ago? We've seen maybe 1 or 2 conceptual trailers about this game. I don't mean to sound like a jerk, but let's just think about the ramifications of this, right? I just don't have a lot of faith in Ubisoft, which is a giant corporation that has several studios under their belt, to put out something that is fully good, fully prepared. Like, who looked at this at LucasArts and thought this was a good idea? I'm losing my mind, people. Now, of course, you're probably typing in the comments, well, who could they have given the franchise to Legacy Zero? You're probably asking, I don't know. Not Ubisoft? Like, okay, I mean, Remedy is right there. They made Control. I've never even played Control, and it looks like a Star Wars game to me, right? And it's apparently gotten a lot of fanfare. People love Control from Remedy, right? I could throw out several names. Hello Games could make a Star Wars game at this point. What is going on here? There are Ubisoft fans left in the world, and I don't know how this is possible. But, of course, this being largely a No Man's Sky channel, I had to cover this, and I had to discuss this, because there is cautionary tales all over this story. It's rare to have a good, truly great Star Wars game. I mean, we did just have Jedi Fallen Order, which is apparently super good, widely respected. Of course, it's Respawn. It's not very often that you get a studio that constantly poops out golden eggs like Respawn and those attached to Vince Sempella can do, and that's exactly what they do. Respawn is a great studio. Funny enough, I think Respawn actually had a Star Wars game that they were partnering with that I don't know if that ever went anywhere. Maybe that got canceled too. I have to check my sources on that one. But friends, talk to me in the comments section. What are your thoughts about a Ubisoft developed Star Wars game that resembles or has elements of No Man's Sky? And of course, I'll see you in the next one.